The average monthly mortgage in Duluth has increased every year for over a decade. In 2020, the average mortgage for a home was $2,196. In 2021, it was $2,789, and in 2022, it was $3,081. So let's talk about what you should expect for a monthly mortgage in Duluth today, and we'll also talk about some of the other costs associated with the cost of living in a city, like the cost of gas and groceries and utilities. In the last 60 days, the average sold price for a home in Duluth has been $527,000, compared to Alpharetta, where it's $750,000, or Marietta, where it's $450,000. And you can see that Duluth is kind of in the middle in between these two suburbs. In fact, Duluth is kind of in the middle when it comes to all of the suburbs of Metro Atlanta when we're talking about the cost of a home. The price per square foot for a home in Duluth is $215 per square foot. In Alpharetta, it's $268 per square foot, and in Marietta, it's $215. So when it comes to the amount of home that you can get for your money, Duluth and Marietta are pretty much very similar. But if you're thinking about moving to Duluth, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. I'm the one who answers the phone. I'm the one who answers those text messages. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. But here are 3 examples of homes in Duluth that are for sale right around that price range. 2464 Kingsbrook Court in Duluth is a 5-bed, 4-bath home, about 3,300 square feet, and they're asking $515,000. Also, 2111 Swanee Woods Lane is a 4-bed, 3-bath home, again about 3,300 square feet, and they're asking $545,000. And 3403 Stoneham Drive is also a 5-bed, 4-bath home, about 3,200 square feet, and they're asking $530,000. So while the homes in Duluth have certainly increased in price every year, you can see it's very easy to get a 4-bed or even a 5-bath home in this city right around that $500,000 mark. When it comes to property taxes, you can typically expect about 1.15% of the value of the home for yearly property taxes. So for a home that's about $527,000, you should expect about $6,000 a year for property taxes. And then homeowners insurance is going to be somewhere in between $1,500 and $3,000 for the year for homeowners insurance. Obviously, that depends a lot on the company that you go with and the amount of deductible that you have, but I would say about $2,000 per year is pretty typical for a home that size in Duluth. Now let's look at how much you should expect for a monthly mortgage using all of these numbers. For a $527,000 home in Duluth with a 20% down payment and an interest rate of about 7.5%, the monthly mortgage would come out to $3,674, including taxes and insurance. Now, of course, there are a few other factors associated with living in any city, so let's talk about how much you should expect for those things. For example, right now, gas in Duluth is somewhere around $3 to $3.10 per gallon. I know it's kind of come down a little bit in the last few weeks, and I would expect it to come down a little bit more as we get more into the winter months, but it certainly was a lot higher during the summer months. In the summer in Duluth, gas was around $3.50, maybe up to $3.75. And then when it comes to groceries, that certainly is going to depend on so many factors, like which grocery store you go to and what groceries you buy. So there are a lot of different kinds of grocery stores in Duluth. This is not like a country city or like a super rural city. There are plenty of places to go shopping for groceries in Duluth, things like Publix or Whole Foods or Kroger, even Aldi, which is one of my favorites. You can find all of these in and around Duluth. And then let's talk about how much you should expect for monthly bill for like utilities, for gas and water, electric. A big factor when it comes to trying to determine these numbers is whether or not the home that you're buying has natural gas or is all electric. Typically, when a home here in Georgia has natural gas, it's the things like the heater or the furnace or the stove that uses that natural gas. If the home has that, then you should expect somewhere about $100 to $150 a month for the natural gas bill, and then again about $150, maybe $200 a month for the electric bill. If the home does not have natural gas, you should expect at least $200 a month for the electric bill, and in the summer months, it may get up to even $300 a month for the electric bill. Many times people tell me that they only want to buy a home that has that natural gas option. So when we come across a home that doesn't have that natural gas, it's kind of disappointing, but the main solution for a home that doesn't have natural gas is to buy a propane tank. There are big propane tanks that you put on the outside of the home, and they pump it into the house to be able to use in the stove or in the furnace. And this is really the main solution for a home that doesn't have natural gas if you absolutely have to have that gas-powered stove or the gas-powered heater. Another thing that you really need to know about when it comes to property taxes here in Georgia and definitely in Duluth is that every year as the home prices increase, property taxes are obviously increasing with it, but we don't have any kind of rules here in Georgia that limit the amount of increase for property taxes every year. I think in some states like California, there's a certain limit that the property taxes can increase every year. Like you can't have an increase of a certain amount per year for property taxes. Here in Georgia, if the home goes from 300,000 one year to 500,000 in 3 years, that is going to be reflected in the property taxes. So a lot of people's property taxes here in Georgia have increased significantly in the last few years. And in fact, there are some companies now that will dispute property tax values for you. You kind of pay them a percentage of the savings that you get from them disputing the taxes. And this could help a lot in the amount of property taxes that you're paying every year. Also important to note is the homestead exemption. The deadline for filing for the homestead exemption here in Georgia is April 1st. If you apply for the homestead exemption before April 1st, it will go onto your property taxes for that year and will save you a little bit of money in your property taxes. If you apply April 2nd, it won't go on your property taxes until the following year, in which case you'd have to wait a whole nother year to apply. Duluth is certainly a great city and it's growing every year, as we can see by the increase in the home values. And there are a lot of great things about living here. There are a lot of young families who live in Duluth. There are a lot of great things to do. There's an awesome downtown area in Duluth, but there are a few things that you need to know about before moving to Duluth, Georgia. If you plan on living in Duluth, you need to watch this video first before you move here. I'll see you in the next video.